Hi guys, it's Blackie
And Bear.
and welcome back to Wayz number
45.
45, good caliber.
My favorite.
Alright Bear, what you got to talk about today?
Well, I wanted to do a product test a while back. By the way, if you can't tell, it's raining.
It's raining pretty good.
Yeah. But a while back, he did a test on, well, he introduced, he didn't test it, a stove, a wicked sterno. And I was thinking the other day, okay, we've introduced it, but we haven't really talked about it. Let's talk about it. So that's what I had in mind for today.
Well, having little bitty stoves or something to carry with you, especially on a day like right now it's raining, where you don't have to keep a fire running. You can have something small and close like that, like I demonstrated about taking one and a couple of tent stakes and putting it like be up under a tarp, be able to heat up sound, not necessarily boil something, but heat it up fairly quickly would be a real advantage. You can pet this dog from now to forever, and she ain't never gonna get tired of it.
The advantage to this is it's supposed to give you a nice big flame.
If you're doing that, you will. Give me a minute, got to get the whole wick going.
I'm going to set that right there so you can watch. What I thought I would do is see if it will boil water. Now, this is my sterno stove. These are both Ozark Trails products, and I've had them for decades. Could not tell you. I know I had them when I was a scoutmaster, and our troop closed out in about '97. So
I can remember the first time I ever saw a sterno that I could point to and remember was actually on an overnight camp out with a friend of mine named Mike, who was a Boy Scout, and he had a can of sterno. And I had never seen such a device before. Apparently that was a staple of the Boy Scouts back in them days, was to carry sterno.
Okay, this is the one, this is the sterno stove that just fits over your standard sterno can. This one is a little bit different because it will, it's enclosing and generates a little more direct column of heat.
Got a windbreak all the way around it. And it's got that little grill up there so you can put a bigger pot on it pretty easy.
Yeah, it works wonders. You'd be surprised what you can do with this, how much mischief you can get into. Start your timer.
Hold on, let me dig her out. So you know I am a technical guru.
This is my coffee.
Stopwatch. Ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright. Let's see how long it takes to heat up a cup of coffee.
You know, I carried, when I was driving truck in the wintertime, I carried a daddy heater, which was nothing but a coffee can with a roll of toilet tissue in it, and I'd get the 97% or whatever it was alcohol from the pharmacy. And you just pop, you can get them old Maxwell House cans.
Yeah, not the plastic ones,
Not
guys.
the plastic, it was the metal
The
can.
metal ones, the old metal ones.
And they had a plastic lid they'd snap on. So you take that off, you take the whole roll of toilet paper, put it in there, and then you pull the cardboard tube out of the middle of it. and then you'd saturate it down with that alcohol, and set it up there. I would put 2 of those big old military tent stakes across the top of it. That gave me enough of a lip, and I could set a Boy Scout pot on top of it, or an Army Canteen Cup, and I could heat up chow in it fairly easily. And that rode me. There were several times I had to use that where I was having to stop due to weather conditions, wrecks, or whatever, and just need to heat something up. I remember being on Interstate 81 one time. They had a major catastrophe in front of us, blocked up, and for like 5 miles traffic backed up, and then 2 trucks on the back end wrecked, and one of them caught fire, and it was a fuel carrier. So we were trapped between 2 solid points, and they couldn't get, they had to clear the ends. They couldn't go around. There wasn't no off-ramp. No county access, no nothing. We sat there about 3.5 hours. I took my little Betty burn. I got out on the interstate beside the truck. Opened up, pulled out one of my little stools. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just sat down beside my truck on the middle of the interstate, cars all the way around us. We were back solid. We sat there and was cooking me something to eat. I threatened to go get him to sleep and take me a nap while I was waiting on him.
That would have endeared you to a lot of folks.
Well, I figured somebody would start blowing a horn and waking me up when everything started moving.
Watch the pots, never boil.
Never do. Best thing I found to do is to set it up and go about my business doing another camp stove. And you'll just glance back and you see it as boil, you know it's ready.
Yeah. I passed a milestone a couple of weeks ago.
Oh?
Yep.
What'd you do?
I've been on YouTube for a year now.
1 full year. Awesome.
1 full year. I think December the 19th of last year, 2 years ago, of 2022, was the day I went, my channel went live, and we're a year and a month into it. I apologize, guys. It's been very interesting last few weeks since I was able to post a video.
We all live in the real world. You know how it is.
We're trying to do things, and life rears its ugly head. Hey, we got steam.
Yep, it is.
But yeah, life rears its ugly head.
You can also look at the side of the can, and you'll see like a frosting
Yeah.
of it coming up.
Where are we at?
At the moment, we are at 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
That's not bad.
It really ain't bad. And if you watch, that frost band will disappear because that's the top of the water heating up because heat rising, and it comes down to it. That's one way to do it. We were doing a big rendezvous for Boy Scouts, and that's in December, and Grouse got out there and was going to shave that morning. And he went and made up his shaving water, and he took his thing, he lathered up, and everything, and he laid it down, and he reached over and grabbed a hold of the razor and came up, and the foam had turned cold that quick. So it was a frosty morning now. And had done chilled his face, and he went to try and shave, and that was a sharp blade. And he figured out right quick, this wasn't going to work. So I had to wash his face off because of that. But it was cold morning. You watch the band on that. When we poured the water into that cup, that water was just short of frozen to begin with, in that stainless pot. And you just watch this frost line appear on it. And you watch that frost line go to the bottom. And he said that's how he knew the water was hot enough he could stick a finger in it now, and it would be hot enough to shave with it, but not too hot.
You know, the story of the band of brothers just impresses me no end. But the thing I think that impressed me most was when the guy was playing Dick Winters. takes up the ammo box and breaks the ice off the water and sticks his brush in and starts lathering up. I mean, it's Bastogne.
Yeah.
It's 1944. The temperature is 22 degrees below zero with a headwind.
Yeah.
And he's shaving.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Some guys did it just for hygiene. Some guys did it just for being normal. My uncle, I had a lot of family members in the war, but one uncle talks about that this member of theirs, he had a extra dog tag, that the dog tag had one of the prayers, I don't know if it was the Lord's Prayer or whatever, engraved into it. And it was a piece of stainless steel. He got a jeweler to make it up. And so every morning, he polished that. He took toothpaste and he polished that thing. And it's like, it's shiny as a mirror. Why are you polishing it every day? No, it was a little ritual of his that today's going to be okay as long as I do this. You know, good luck charm or whatever.
Yeah.
People develop all kinds of little patterns and tics and things like that in any kind of job or any kind of part of your life. You're going to find people that do that. And I do. There's things that I do.
Oh yeah, I have routines that I'm not going to change.
No, that's just the way I do it. And the way I enjoy doing it. You know that those butterfly handles like that, if you'll take a stick that's got kind of a little bit of a knob on the end, fairly long, and you shave down leaving a bulb head on it, kind of like a walking stick, you go in between this way and come out between them, and then you pop the head in between the two and put a little stick in there to wedge it.
Yeah, that'd probably make a good handle.
It'll make a handle. I need to do a video on that about putting a handle on butterfly handles. I posted a video yesterday, Friday, on the new sustainment pack. And I've had a lot of people contact me about it and want to know about it. Would it fit this? Would it fit that? Yes.
We've got bubbles.
Got bubbles, and that is at 8 minutes and 36 seconds. So we're under 10 minutes. And if you close that door,
Well, I had it down so that the camera
the camera can see it, but you get more heat that way.
True.
They know what a flame looks like. I hope they know what a flame looks like.
But yeah, I picked this stove up at the Wally World big box. Oh gosh, I don't know, probably 1996, 97.
Yeah, they still sell them.
Did,
Yeah, these stoves.
yeah, since you retired, I don't go in there very much anymore.
Yeah, me either. But I used 2 of those with that big flame and put them inside my little wood stove,
Yeah.
inside my hot tent. And they'll run 5-6 hours. And it's not going to make it where you wear shirt sleeves in there, but it took the chill out of the air. I just closed the damper completely off and just let it radiate out of that box. So, you know, like what we did the demonstration of the big flower pot.
Yeah.
All right, well, I did it this way. And that way, any buildup of gases would go up the pipe, because it doesn't close it off 100%.
Right.
But at the same time, it would force the heat to stay down there. It did a good job. And that, you know, that was something that came to me. I saw where Kevin Baxter of Pathfinder School, he got him one of them one-wind hot tents.
Really?
And he was doing a review of it and put a wood stove in it, because he had him a wood stove. And he got it easily. He wasn't staked down along the bottom. There's a place there's gaps like that underneath the bottom. You see daylight everywhere. He's in snow, and he brought it up to 60 degrees inside that little big tent.
That's impressive.
Yeah, with a relatively small amount of wood in there. And but after seeing that, and I've been thinking about it, and it totally slipped my mind that I had a buddy here. You know, And I just automatically, because we're over rendezvous, there's a stovepipe hole in it, I need to put a stove in it.
Yeah.
I never thought about just going and take my buddy heater and put it in there and heat the thing up. You got steam coming off
Yeah,
of it.
got a good bit of steam coming off of it.
It'd probably be too hot to drink by itself right now. Make coffee out of it, that's for sure. And that's 11 minutes. But you can make coffee in 10, 11 minutes.
Which is not bad.
Not bad at all. Okay, I'm stopping this. Which is, you know, real reasonable. You know. Okay, you gotta stand in line at Starbucks that long.
You want to cut?
Nope, appreciate it. I'm wired up enough. You add caffeine and it'll be unbearable.
I thought I had put some tea in here for just such emergencies, but I don't. He's more of a tea drinker than a coffee drinker.
I never got into the coffee like my dad did. You know, my dad was a 3-pot-a-day guy. And he could drink it so hot he could blow steam out his nose.
Yeah.
And I'm not me. I like hot chocolate. I like tea. And now go burn your hand now. I want to see
The
this.
can is supposed to be.
It is supposed to be cool to the touch, and there's actually, on some of them, there's a indicator
Yeah.
on it.
I don't know if that one's got one on it or not.
I don't see it on this one, no. But on some of them, they got an actual circle that it will warn you whenever it's getting hands warming up, it'll change color.
But
But for,
I love his Trangia. Okay, that's an awesome setup. One of these days I'm gonna have me one. But this was about $4 at Walmart, maybe. This stove was about $6 at Walmart, maybe.
$10.
Yeah, $10 for the whole setup. I'm good to go.
Well, there's two sides of the coin. The ones that I can refill the stoves, you know, like a Trangia or something. All right, that means that the stove itself, I want to be good, rugged, and durable because it's got longevity to it. I can refill it.
Yes.
Something like this doesn't have to be that strong or everything because it's only going to have one full burn cycle to it and you're throwing it away.
True.
And so it can be cheaper to produce, easier to get. A quart of denatured alcohol runs about $6 or $8. That's a lot of cooking in a Trangia.
It is.
But that is basically the same thing. It's probably the same type of liquid paraffin in it. And it doesn't sit up the bottom of the pot. It don't, you know, dirty everything up.
Yeah, what is it? This one right here is just your basic old-fashioned sterno. And it's the blue jelly.
Which is just alcohol with something in it to thicken it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, these are brothers. But this one does give a little bit more concentrated heat than I like versus this one. This one does work and it does work well, but I think I prefer this one of the two. This is the kind of setup that you want to have in your mandatory Blackbird haversack. Okay? If you don't have one of these, you're behind the curve. Okay?
Well, it makes perfect thing to just carry along like I showed with the one I was using. Put 3 tent stakes in the ground.
Yeah.
Around it, down where about 2 inches high, so you can set a pot on it right quick and heat it up. This don't weigh nothing, this little stove, it folds flat.
Yeah,
And
it might weigh 4 ounces, might.
I have seen these used as wood stoves before where they put pine cones and stuff in it and burn
Yeah.
them. So it could be used as that as well. Now it's gonna eventually give up the ghost because it's thin metal, but again, the cost is under $10.
Yeah, and this, it's like we were demonstrating here. We can get water hot enough to steam, to make a cup of coffee, and we're probably not going to get around to it today. But the subject has been broached a time or two about immersion heating.
Yep. It doesn't hurt, as long as that package is cleaned off, it doesn't hurt that water for you to put that in it.
No,
So
not
while it's heating, you're heating up your food. And then once it's steaming, that food's hot, now you've got the hot water you can make your coffee with, or
Right.
tea, or chocolate with, and hot food at the same time, instead of doing them separate.
Yeah. I would probably go to this.
Those Stanley pots are a really good pot.
And they fit very well. This cup, I bought them separately, okay? The Stanley pot comes with these little green ones, but I bought this one because it serves as Canteen Cup. It's got that kind of a capacity, and you can put most of what's in here, and have a full meal. But I say that to say this.
Good.
All of these nest together very, very well. And if you're going out on a day trip, this is the ticket.
Yeah.
This is the way to go. If you're going out hunting, you can light this thing off in a deer stand, assuming you have an enclosed stand. I would not do it in sitting in a tree stand that you have a climber. That's why I was looking for a climber. And a climber, don't do this, okay? Bring you in something dry, but don't do this. If you're in an enclosed stand, this would be the ticket, because it's all in your haversack, and like you said, it all folds flat. And in just a couple of minutes, you can have it set up and good to go, and in just a matter of 10 or 15 minutes, while you're still in the stands, you've got a hot meal and a hot something to drink on a cold day.
It don't make a lot of
Win-win.
noise. That's the one thing about the stoves that are pressurized stoves, they're always noisy.
Yeah, they sound like little blow torches.
Yeah, it's a blowtorch. And you can hear it pretty good ways away. And
And I guarantee you, deer's gonna hear it too.
we were at a camp out last year, and it was about 3:30 in the morning. And these yahoos got up. You know, we're in a big event. There's probably 400 or 500 people at this event. And we're all camping in this wooded area close together. And I was hanging there in my hammock, and it was about 3:30 in the morning, and these two guys got up. And, they were probably 20 yards from me. And they're talking like they're trying to out-yell each other. About wanting coffee. You got the coffee? I didn't bring it. Did you bring it? I didn't bring it, And there's 100 people within a rock throw trying to sleep. And they fired up this stove, and it was like, "Wah!" I mean, hell, it sounded like you were taking a Cummins 250 and climbing Mount, Eagle Pass with this thing.
That was the Georgia bushcraft last year,
It was a
wasn't it?
Georgia thing. It's like, come on, guys. Not everybody gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And nobody is impressed that you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Have a little bit of consideration.
See, that's where you lost them.
Yeah. Well, I tell you a story. Me and Don Davis went to the Eastern Rendezvous that was in Pennsylvania. And it was on this big, huge estate. Some rich cat let him use the place. And up here on the edge of this hill, they brought in these huge hay bales and stacked them up so you couldn't see the back of the mansion sitting there with the Lamborghini and all, you know. So we're all out here camping, and these guys, you know, there's probably 25,000 people at this event. The biggest event I ever been to is in Eastern. There was 52,000 of that. There's probably 25, 30,000 of this. And, maybe 100 yards, 150 yards that way was this bunch. And they declared themselves the Indian camp. And it was the party place. And they had these great big old drums. And so they all wanted to drink and everything and hoot and holler and yell. And they were beating on them drums. Boom, 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 boom. Up till about 4 in the morning. Hooting and hollering and screaming. Y'all need to get up. It's time to party. You know, all this stuff. And people trying to sleep. And so about the second day of it, it's a week-long event, I walked down there and I said, guys, look, we all love to enjoy ourselves, but have a little bit of consideration. And so, a couple of them had already been in the beers and stuff. They had mouthed off at me. Told me where I could go. I went, okay, we'll play it your way. They partied to 4:30 that morning. I mean, they had a rousing good time. It's probably about 50 or 60 of them. And then about 5, they all went to bed. 6 a.m., I was sitting in the middle of their camp with a bagpipe, and Don Davis trying to teach me how to play bagpipes. I can't play shit. They got up madder than a wet hen. Nope, I'm a music lover too, and I'm going to be sitting here all day, every day, practicing bagpipes. Y'all get to play at night, I get to play during the day. Nobody could sleep through this. People were laughing as far as they could as we walked by. Oh, here comes the guy that was in charge. People are complaining. Yep, sure were. We were complaining about them last night, wasn't we? Y'all didn't get up then.
Now, were you being
I was not a dog soldier.
dog soldier?
I was just merely a private individual trying to express concern for their life choices.
That was very noble of you.
Yes, and I had full support of several hundred people around there. In fact, by about an hour of me doing this, we had people over there trying to learn to play bagpipes, drums. There was a horn, a tuba showed up.
Oh, cool.
And oh yeah, we were practicing. I mean, their camp's right here, and we're about 20 feet that way.
You know, it's probably was a very good spot to learn.
It really was. It was a nice, pretty, sunny place. You
The
could
acoustics
see.
were just perfect in this spot.
Yeah, their drums are right over there, so this must be the place for the music.
Yeah.
And by the second day, a truce was realized upon that the drum bearers would turn in at 2 a.m. if I wouldn't play bagpipes no more. So we agreed that that was a fair trade. So they would, about midnight, tone down greatly and call it quits at 2 a.m. So we had a mutual agreement. You just have to express it in terms they can relate to, that's all.
Yeah, you know, you'd have to put it right down there. Put the cabbage right down where the cows can get to it.
Yep, so the cows can see it real plain. Sometimes you just got to be that way. Well, now, let's see. Like I said, this folds up real easy.
And fold back around.
Fold back around it. Oh, no. You feel it bumps that. Hold on.
Go back around the other direction.
This direction? Here. I want to bend the middle.
There it is.
That's what it is. So it's relatively flat and don't weigh nothing.
4, maybe 6 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And this will last for 6 hours steady.
which would make more than enough for a weekend.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was happy with mine for what I've done with them, and I still got a couple of them. Now, the one thing I did find with mine, and fair disclosure, was eventually it gets to where it don't want to light.
Your Trangea?
Know that.
Oh.
It will eventually, I used it over and over again, and that wick kind of gets crusted up. And it got where it was harder and harder to light it. So it may have a certain amount of relights you get out of it before it quits. But I used that one for about a month and a half on scouts and walking. And it had about, I'd say, a third left in it whenever it got where I just couldn't light it.
Yeah, I would recommend, and I know Blackie would back me up. You always need a backup. And just, I mean, if you just put it in a plastic bag in the trunk of your car, then you're okay.
I like, if they'd have had this background when I was doing trucking instead of doing a buddy heater. And the reason I didn't go with sterno in the trucking was it did take a little too long in the types we had back then.
Yeah, yeah. This one, it will not boil water. My very dear friend Doug Davis, who was my scoutmaster, he's gone on to his reward. We spent a camp out over at Camp Alaflow testing these things, and this never boiled water. We ran the thing dry, never boiled water, but it made it nice and hot, nice and warm. And
but you know, you can't use it for sterilizing water.
yeah,
But at the same time, if I'm already using potable water, I just need to make it hot enough to eat or drink.
yes,
And that was a big advantage, especially with scouts, because as long as you kept stirring, you didn't burn it. And that's one of the disadvantages to a lot of these high pressure stoves, high speed stoves, is it'll scorch and burn something in a nanosecond
oh yeah.
if you're not dead on it.
You know, I watch these folks on YouTube, and I love and respect all of them. Don't get me wrong, but they've got this little thing that looks like a butterfly. A butterfly on 3 legs, and it's hooked up to a gas
An
container.
MS stove or something.
Yeah, about this size, and you open up the valve and you light it, and it sounds like a jet engine firing up. And the whole thing, you know, it looks kind of sort of like that, but not as much metal. But they sound like a jet engine taking off.
Show you a trick. Okay, the Stanley stove set. Notice it's got the little slider here. You come down and that wedges it so it can't collapse, so that when you pick it up and you put any pressure, it won't tip, right? You slide that up out of the way, and that allows you to compress the handles, and you flip it over, and that holds the top in place, okay? If you're wanting to put this, like I've demonstrated, and put a cup in it like a Grail or a canteen, one of the round canteens, you can flip this handle around. What you want to do is, pulling this all the way to the top, you take and squeeze the handles, and you can actually unhook the handle. Now, instead of going over the top, you turn it around and you put it back in. You put one side in and then you bring down from top. Now the handle folds down. That way you can take this, put it in the bottom of the carrier, fold this handle down, and use it to put a round water bottle in. The handle still locks in place. It still works as intended. It's just at an angle now instead of being the other way. Tip or trick. I did mine this way so I could put my Grail in.
Yeah. And this lid has got holes in it right here so that you can use it to strain. It's got a vent hole up here for steam, one at the top, and about 6 right here to act as a strainer if you need them. You know, if you're heating up ramen noodles, just lock your lid into place and strain them. Strain your water. I love my little Stanley pot.
Mm-hmm.
It was well worth the money.
They're not that expensive.
No,
They really aren't. It's a good stainless steel pot. Does its job. I haven't had any problem with mine. I've still got mine in my kit.
wasn't it Bender that cut the top of this off and got pulled out the liner?
Yeah.
And got 2 cups out
You
of
can
it
make 2 cups out of one. What it is, it's a hollow cup
Yeah.
to hold coffee.
to insulate.
So therefore, if you will just cut the top, sand the top down, it's 1 cup inside the other, and it turns it into 2 cups. So you can do that. You can also score all the way around and just slide it out.
Right.
Little tips and tricks make life easy.
Yeah. With, I'm kind of hesitant to bring this up. For a long, long time, all the way back to old Wayz 1, we have encouraged our viewers to be aware of things going on around you. And, you know, it's coming, it's happening. I don't know how much detail I can go into or should go into, but if you have your eye on anything current events related, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We told y'all, what, 2 years ago now, the price of everything was gonna go up. It did. There was going to be shortages of materials. There was. Now there are things popping up about certain medicines they're running short of. Well, China's collapsing. And then
Right.
factories are gonna quit making stuff over there, and it's gonna take time for it to shift somewhere else then to get it going.
Yeah, or bring it back here.
That's the goal, and that's where a lot of it is. And one of the reasons that the administration keeps hollering about growth is there have been more industrial build permits issued in the last 18 months than we did in all of World War II.
Really?
Yeah, and that's where companies are looking to build a new factory, a new warehouse, a new distribution center, a new whatever, here in the United States. And that's what they're touting it for. They ain't got them built yet, but the basic idea that's coming is we're seeing a wholesale pull out of China, and they're moving into Malaysia, they're moving into Vietnam, India, Mexico, and back here. And so we're going to see a lot of stuff shift around. Even stuff as stupid as combs and brushes and stuff, you know, that's stopping over there. The latest report that I saw, which was about the 15th, that China is off by 83% of orders. Well, when any business, they tell you your business is down by 83%, beware, you know, and banks and stuff like that are pulling their money out. And we spent all them years in the 80s and 90s sending all the jobs overseas and getting rid of the factories and stuff here. We've got to rebuild all that.
Right.
So,
A lot of those factories that we did have been either repurposed or just torn down.
yeah, they're gone. So that's one of the reasons we're seeing such huge amounts of these building permits. That's the reason we got inflation. And you're going to have inflation for somewhere around 5 years until all these supply chains get rebuilt. A phone, 41 countries are in some way involved in the production of a modern phone.
Right.
Because you get this raw material from here, that raw material from there. This company makes X, which is then shipped to here and used at 43 countries just to produce a phone. And now they're moving all the distribution, moving all the manufacturing. Yeah, it's going to take a while. If everybody was eating down here at the local diner and suddenly the local diner is closing its doors and they're going up the street to build a new building to have the new diner, everybody's got to eat ham sandwiches and stuff until the diner gets built, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming. And we're actually in the middle of it. Doesn't matter who ends up in charge as far as which party you like or whatever. It doesn't matter. The whole board is moving this way. So it doesn't matter if you're on one side of the board or the other. Everybody, no matter, is facing this at the same time together.
It's kind of like being an unwilling participant. You didn't ask for it, and we didn't ask for it, but it's something that you need to be aware of and prepared for, because things are changing.
We are living in a history chapter
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
I remember asking my granddaddy said they were in the field hunting in 1941, December 1941. And they were hunting squirrels and rabbits and stuff, and suddenly all the church bells went ringing. And he said, I turned around and looked at my boys and said, we're at war. Because he had heard that before when World War I was announced. There is no reason, because he said, one church ringing the bell, there's something local for that church that's got a problem. That's one way they call people.
Yeah, plus this was Sunday morning.
Yeah.
If you'll remember, this was Sunday, December the 7th, 1941.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, that was, why is what? 5 hours.
Yeah, the attack started at Pearl Harbor at, I believe, 7:30.
So that'd be about 12 here.
And it was 12:30 here because Daddy and my grandparents were having lunch with my grandmother's parents when it came over the radio.
Yeah.
He was 10. He had just turned 10 years old, and he remembered that day like it was yesterday.
The church.
It's like Challenger for us.
Right.
You know, we know where we were the day the Challenger blew up.
When the wall came down in
the wall
Berlin.
came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When 9/11 happened.
When 9/11 happened.
But they, he said that they had got up that morning, and in those days, a lot of the churches would have more than one sermon in a day. And a lot of times the preacher would have a sermon out on the steps for basically the poor dirt people that didn't have anything. And that was at 9 o'clock in the morning. He would step out there and he'd do a 10 or 15 minute whatever, and do a little lesson and stuff. And then those people would go about to the hogs and the cows, etc.
Yeah.
And the town people that were dressed in a lot of nice stuff would show up at 9:30 or so. And then 11's when they had their meeting. So Granddaddy and them had gone to that porch meeting, they called it, that morning with the kids and all. And then they were going rabbit hunting immediately after.
Yeah, that would be like early church.
Yeah, it was an early church. And that was the dirt poor, poor white trash people. It was my family, they would come up to the church thing, and it wasn't that they didn't want them in the church, but they were dirty and they smelled. And the pretty nice town people that had more than them didn't want them in there.
But yeah, you're what you're saying is true.
It was true.
But at the same time, they were highly respected.
Oh yeah, nobody. We're not
That's
saying
the
bad. It's just the way it was.
Yeah, you were still. I've known, the Thomas family all of my life, and highly respected family.
Yeah, they were poor. They were proud, but they were very respected. But if the church didn't respect them, they wouldn't make the effort for it.
No.
It's just these people are getting up before sunup, feeding chickens, slopping hogs, doing all this stuff. They own one pair of coveralls and one shirt. They ain't no fancy Sunday go to meeting. This is the only clothes they got. And they would come out of the fields, load up, come up to the church. After they got everything done, which got them to about 8. So about 8:30 to 9, they'd show up at the church. Preacher would come out on the porch, do the bit for them right quick so they could say they'd been to church. And then they turn around, they go back to the farm, do what they got to do. The town people that worked a job that didn't have to go slop chickens and hogs and everything else, and butcher this or that, they started showing up at like 9:30, and they're wearing their nice clothes, and they come into the church. And it just made sense. Because, I mean, like my granddaddy, the picture I saw of him, and he's sitting there wearing a pair of blue bib coveralls and a shirt, and the left leg, the pants is rotted off about halfway up the shin, where it's just from work. And that was him slinging his leg up onto the tractor. It had gotten so beaten, and finally the pants leg just given up.
Yeah.
You know, whatever was on that side of that old tractor had just wore it out on the inside. And he had two different shoes where somebody had thrown away a pair of shoes, and he had got it, and one shoe would fit, and the other really threw away. The shoe fell apart on one side. So he had a left shoe that was one size too big, and a right shoe that was the shoe pair he bought. And it was because pushing the clutch had wore out his shoe. And on the other guy, he worked in a factory where he used his right foot, and his shoe wore out. So he just found it garbage can. There was a new shoe. You didn't
That's
throw
right.
nothing away.
That's like the story of the two old gentlemen who were veterans of the war between the states. One had one left leg, the other had one right leg.
Mm-hmm.
And they met at a shoe store in like Lubbock, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
after the war. And their children married and had, you know, continued the line, all because this guy had a left leg and this guy had a right leg. And they bought a pair of shoes together
Mm-hmm.
and split the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And their children fell in love over time and
Mm-hmm.
raised their own family.
Yeah. That's just the way people adapted. Life was hard. You got over it and you kept going.
Yeah, you had to.
You had to. But Granddaddy talked about back too. He said that they'd gone to the field and all the church bells went ringing.
Yeah.
And he knew they were at war.
You like knives.
Oh yeah.
Several weeks ago, I did an EDC where I mentioned my EDC knife, my fixed blade that I keep. I brought it.
Okay. Okay. And this is a?
I have no idea. But it works. That's
Well,
the point.
there is a name up here on this blade. What's that say right there?
Reaper.
Reaper. Okay.
Yeah. It is a Reaper. And full tang, glass breaker. It's good and heavy. It's got that slight drop to the point that we both like so well, where
For
you
scanning.
can, yeah, you can lay it flat and then roll it down, and then it acts like a zipper. The skin will come up and over the top of the knife, and it'll just like unzipping it. But I thought you might get a kick out of it.
Oh yeah. Well, boss, I think we need to end there. We're probably getting close to the limit about I can edit. So, anything else, brother?
I think for right now we're good.
All right.
We're going to step up videos over the next few weeks. Still owe you a hunting video and a woods walk.
Yep, we're going to be doing that. All right, guys. Till next time, I'm Blackie.
And Bear.
Wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.